So Mary, I would love to just kind of start. I want to talk about how much you've helped the industry and what you're doing for the spiritual psychology. And but first, I want to go back and I want to hear about what was your upbringing like and what led you to social work and kind of put you on this path towards energy medicine.
Okay, so I was born in the 50s, 1952, so that tells you how old I am. And I'm the second oldest of 12 kids. So it was like
Oh my
like
gosh.
after the war, it was like these guys came home from the war, people got married. I think my parents dated 3 months, although they knew each other in high school.
Oh my
And
gosh.
anyway, you know how it goes back then. So it's like one kid after another kid after another kid. So it's we were laughing the other day, my husband and I, actually, because we were looking at my grandkids, and like there's only two of them, and they kind of really get along. And I said, I probably would have been that generous too if they stopped with me,
If
but
there
they
was
didn't. They
only
kept going,
two.
like I think I got the most screwed up. I had an older brother, two younger brothers. I think I was okay there, but when they brought that girl home,
Oh
like,
my gosh.
what do we need her for? Like, that I said, I think
Right.
I tanked there. I said, well, we were just laughing, but it was a different time, a totally
Yeah.
different time. So basically what I can say is early on, I realized there's lots of different people on this planet, and this place is a little nutty. And what the heck are these people thinking,
Right. What am I doing in this family?
Yeah, exactly. I often say I started bossing people around when I was 3, I think, and so it was just like, I'm just one of these, I know what I know, and I tell you what I think, and not always the most popular person at the table. So anyway, that's where it started.
So
And
12 kids.
12 kids, and like I don't know, you knew how to tie your shoe before the other guy, you could read before everybody. Like I just assume people aren't going to follow what I say.
Yeah.
Like I have this weird thing, and I'm really shocked when people don't listen to me. So
So
anyway,
how much of that is because you were the second of oldest of 12 and like you
Mhm.
kind of had to step into that role, and how much is that just your like, this is my soul, this is what I came here to be and do, is
I
to
think
just
it's
kind of be in
both. I
charge.
really think your
Yeah.
soul designs a little bit um, when you jump in. What are the right things to get you kind of going on your path? I do think there
Mhm.
is a design to that.
I think so too. I'm glad you brought
Mhm.
that up because I've been pondering that a lot, that I really truly believe at this point. I don't think I did for a long time, but I do
Mhm.
believe at this point that there's an intention that our
Mhm.
soul goes, yeah, I'm going into
Yeah.
that body with
Yeah.
that baggage for that reason. And
Well, I
these
don't
are
know if
the
they want the baggage as much. Okay. So, I mean, I don't think we're that foolish up there. I do, but what I do know, because for 20 years, and that's all part of my story too. Like when I got to the end of what I knew and my world was kind of crumbling with death and things like that, I
Mhm.
actually, when you're ready, the teacher comes. I met Her Holiness Saima, who's an enlightened master. So
Yeah.
believe me, I pummeled her with questions like, well, why did my sister die? Like,
Oh,
how do you
wow.
get here? What's and to make sense of, when you ask me, how did I get into spiritual psychology? It was only when I had the answers to those questions that I could
Mhm.
serve myself first and then my clients, to bring things to a whole new level of understanding. So what I do know now from a living master, Her Holiness, I'm so grateful, is in my world, is that the soul has to find parents,
Mhm.
and let me say it this way: you leave the planet, and with the baggage you carry, okay, if you
Mhm.
haven't forgiven people, you're still mad about whatever, and so all that energy is your energy. It's got your name on it. I call it your
Mhm.
signature energy. Okay, so that comes with you. You have to put it in baggage claim for a while, then you go to the level based on how much um, fear is still in your field.
Sure.
Now, when you want to come back, and you say, I want to come back, I got to fix that, because you're light and you're divine. And like when you're out of this body. And
Mhm.
so you have to like start finding souls that are going to bring you in. And now, whatever floor you're on, say you and I, of course, we're on the 6th floor. Okay.
Mhm.
It's not really levels like we think, but so you have to go ask all these souls. They tell you you're going back. Will you be my mother? And they say, no. What do you got to go for? No, no. And then you can't go a floor above you where more enlightened people are. You got to go to the next floor, and then the next floor,
Oh my
and then the
gosh.
next floor, till you find somebody to get you in.
Wow.
And you don't always, I wouldn't say we specifically plan to be we have probably some karma to burn, and we have our energies. We have to
Mhm.
go back to baggage claim, take our old baggage, come back in.
Right.
And, I always use the metaphor of, it's like going to college. You want to study math. Okay. I'm going to study, political science or something. So we know we have a different curriculum a little bit, but we don't know, are we going to sleep through that class? Is the teacher going to show up? I don't think we have, because of free will down here.
Right.
We don't plan the whole thing. So
Mm.
some things happen, and we have frequencies in our field that we want to transmute. Like I never forgave myself for whatever. So I have
Mhm.
to forgive myself, because this is a planet that has fear and love.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it goes something like along that line. So I don't think like, oh, I think I'll be raped in this lifetime.
Right. Right. I agree.
I don't think we're that, but we will have to experience maybe a betrayal. Did it
Sure.
need to be that big? I don't know. I don't know if we
Yeah. No,
can.
you did a beautiful job explaining
Yeah.
that. And I
Yeah.
haven't heard it described quite like that, but I really
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
curious what you think, because this is another thing I've sort of been pondering is this, there's all this research coming out on generational trauma and things like that.
Yep.
And so when I say baggage, that's actually one of the places that I'm curious about, because I think that my soul really needed to, and is still learning how to like express my authenticity and like through that throat chakra and open that up. And I entered into a family that has a lot of blocks, like a lot of thyroid issues.
Yeah.
And so I've been curious about that. Like, was
Yeah.
that part of the choice? I don't
That's
know what
part
you
of
think
it
about
too.
that.
So at conception, what happens energetically is the roots of everything. So your parents, so they said they'd bring you in. Okay. You
Mhm.
got a
They're like, all right, you're
contract.
good. You're good. Let's
All
do
right, you
this.
got that part. And you don't ask for a resume, not even a background check. You don't even ask for a credit check. Okay. Oh God, I got to ride in. Okay. They come together, and at that moment of, these are Saima's teaching. So at the moment of conception, the roots are formed. And then you as a soul, let's make it this way. So here's your soul, right? And you like, boom, you pop in, and then you go out for a while, then you come back in. And then when you stay in, that's when birth happens. So you already have, and then your soul, when you're back in your mother's womb, like you go back and forth, you pick up all the energies in her womb. That's where the generational energetics come in this, in the quantum DNA, according to Saima. So yes, all that's in there. Okay. And the good news is, with tapping, with the things we know how to do energetically, once you decide with your free will, I am releasing that, then you're able to go back generations and get it, because energy can do that.
Yeah.
And you're very powerful. Remember, your divinity, you're a soul. You're like, you got some baggage out here, but that's not who you are. So you're super powerful. The problem is, I love to use props. So here you are, you come in. Okay. Then your father fights with your mother. Now there's anger in your field. Now he leaves you. Okay. I got abandonment. Now he grandma comes, she likes you. So you got some love in there. Okay. Yeah. But now this one, let's see, your sister comes, like, who the heck needs her? Now I'm jealous. I put jealous. It's like, you're all covered up.
Yeah.
And in energy psychology, the beauty of it is, once we identify that's in there, you can use your tapping to release it, and then free yourself from that, And this has to reemerge, because this is the truth of who you are. It's like a cork being held underwater. You have to come up. It's energy law.
Right.
But what we have to do as humans is stop pretending we're this, or little, or small, or all the other stunts we had to do to survive. Or me, big, to be like, to free yourself from that. So the full expression of this can come. And then the work I love doing, I know you didn't even ask me this question, but
it's coming. Okay. So go for it.
My game is, okay, so now we've got a lot of this is cleared. Now I'm becoming this pillar of light as the therapist, as the healer, as the influencer. And then I clear more. Oh, I found this is in there. Let me clear that. Let me clear that. Clear that. Then you become this. Then you get real good, like a master. You become this. You just walk in a room, and your presence can. Oh, I'm going foggy. Am I?
You're going foggy, but I liked it, because it was
just
really pretty.
Yeah, you walk in a room and you're this, because why? All this is out of your field.
Yeah.
You're able to influenced just by the vibration of your field. Now, you may do some tapping tricks, who cares? But this is what's doing the work.
Right.
This is where we get really powerful as tapping professionals or as influencers or whatever.
Yeah.
You just can walk in.
Right.
And you
Just
don't get
change the
triggered.
vibration of the room just by
Yeah.
being there. Yeah.
You don't even have to open your mouth.
Oh, I love it. You're
Just
speaking
think
my
all
language.
those years of
I'm getting
graduate school,
goosebumps. I love it.
all those years of graduate school, we don't have to remember anything. We don't have to say it. You just be, you put it out and you're conscious of what you're doing.
I think you're already telling me about it, but maybe go deeper into the soul weaving process and what that looks like and how that manifested for you.
Yeah. So what that is that especially once I learned the tapping, which I had been a therapist for, I don't know, 8-10 years, I forget. And I had a large trauma caseload. And so what I found with them is like, they're empty inside. They're like missing. It was like in the trauma, something was missing. And we would do talk therapy. That was making them worse. So I was like, oh my God, there's got to be a way. And that's how I learned. First I learned EMDR, which is an eye movement therapy. But some of mine, I had clients with multiple personality. That's what we called it back then in the old days. And parts would switch. I mean,
oh man,
what the heck?
Wow.
And I didn't want to make them worse, Kelly. My big prayer was, oh my God, don't let me do anything that's going to make them worse. They were in such horrible situations. Anyway, so, and then I learned hypnosis, then I learned EMDR, but then I was a little afraid EMDR might flood them too much. Then I learned tapping and I could keep them in one trauma and I could. And so what began to happen is I realized consciousness fragments. Okay. So part of them is there and part of them is here. And that comes from years of working with, I remember one guy said, well, one of my, this is a woman, she said to me, I see two of you. Like when we started to bring parts back.
Wow.
And she had been quite split off. I just
So
went,
she was talking to you and she saw two of you.
She said, like in front of me, there's one out of this eye and this eye. And then I was realizing what's going on in the brain? What's with consciousness? Right. And so then we did another round of tapping and it went back to one. I was like, when she told me she had to see 3 of me, I said, well, you're going to have to pay me double then if I'm working with 2 of you right now. Like what can I tell you? And that's how I learned how to reintegrate consciousness. So I call it soul weaving. So what we do with the tapping, I could do it with tapping and do it with a lot of things, but what we do is you get triggered. We find some place you're triggered. Okay. We always start with present time. And then I have you trace the energy back and you oftentimes can see yourself in like your home when you were 4 or something. And then I have to go back and get you. We do tapping here and then we bring you here. And then there's a process I do with the eyes and do tapping. And that's what I call it soul weaving. So, and then what happens is people have more of them here in present time. And it's just easier to be.
Right.
Yeah. Because you're not in 2 realities. Now, the most severe example of that would be multiple personality, dissociative identity disorder, we call it now. That's the most severe, where they don't even know what they're doing in either. That's really severe. And most of us aren't that. But all of us have fragmented aspects of ourselves out. Unless you're enlightened, totally enlightened, and maybe you don't, I don't know.
That's not quite there. Not quite there.
Yeah, not this week.
Definitely.
I think you'll walk on water before that happens. So I figured the day I walk on water,
there you go.
then I might be getting close.
Exactly.
But right now that ain't happening.
What do you think? What do you think I mean, I don't say magic, but I mean, I'm just fascinated with tapping and how it works and energetically what's happening and biologically what's happening. What do you think, like, why is it, what in your description, why is it your go-to? I mean, in EMDR too, I know they're similar in some ways. But what do you think's happening there that makes this so profound for this like deep soul work to let these fragments go?
Okay. Well, you don't let them go. You bring them in.
Or bring them in. Right.
And you
I guess let the junk go, bring the consciousness back.
You release the terror they're holding or the rage they're holding. For some people, they're holding your rage. So those nice people, those really holy people, okay, who like they never get mad. And
yes.
But they got a 4-year-old or an 8-year-old or something.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden rage erupts out of them, out of nowhere. And then, oh my God, let me say some more prayers. Well, good luck with that. the gig is you got to go back and find the part of you that's holding the rage. You see, and then
Yes.
you release that with tapping with this part of you that's very spiritual. That nothing wrong with being spiritual unless you haven't done your work, because eventually this is coming back.
Yes.
Because why? You can't be this with this rage over here in your
Right.
field.
Yeah, I
It
always say
has to
that.
erupt. It
Right.
has to.
Yes.
Energy has to do something.
It has to move and go somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're either going to rage on other people or you're brutal to yourself.
Right.
Brutal. And some of
Right.
these people, like if you look at, sometimes they would beat themselves, like saints, even saints, they would have these probably huge spiritual experiences. And then the human then would come out. So they try to beat that out of there. Not a good plan. Doesn't work. So the game is, we all have parts. For some people, the rage is split off. For some people, they can really do anger, but their sadness or their terror or their helplessness is split off.
Yeah.
So what will happen is something will push your buttons. And then instead of trying to fix today, like we all like to do to make today nice, or I told him I was angry, it's got nothing to do with that. Where did you split it off? In my experience. And then I bring that to here, and then nobody can push your buttons anymore.
Right. Oh gosh.
It's really cool.
You pull back in and you reclaim so much of that raw energy to
the energy, you have more energy, your body's vibrant.
Yes.
Like you emanate.
People look different after that tapping.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Like after we do some good FU tapping, they're like glowy. It's
exactly
so cool.
Because you brought that part back, and now that is integrated, more integrated. And they and now all of a sudden they're speaking. You can tell people who, this is a generalization, okay? I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but a lot of time when people talk really high like this, I'm really mad at you. I really need to tell you something, but like nobody listens. They're like invisible. Why? Because their energy's all up here. They don't have their power center, the third chakra, that energy back. So there's all sorts of ways you can bring energy back. There's many ways to use energy for healing. It's just talk therapy, like talking about it is good for some things, but it's not, I haven't found it, or at least maybe I'm not just good at it, is good for really bringing energy back. And then that's why I love tapping, because the way I do tapping is a little bit different too. The first thing I do is make sure polarity is okay. And so I have them rub here. And first you have to accept that I have anger in me or I have sadness in me. So I always do an accepting affirmation, but I do it here at this spot, because I studied with Dr. Callahan, the one who developed tapping several times, like back in the 90s. Many people know EFT, what Gary does. Gary Craig started, but Gary was with, I know Gary too, we were all with Callahan first, then Gary split off, from there. So Callahan's original thing is would be to have you do this for polarity. So I do that.
Is there a reason you cross your arms?
I cross mine. Some people, one person told me that this is the better way to do it, but I checked with Donna Eden. I checked with people I know about energy. They said this is fine. And it's also crossing the midline, like your energy.
I think that makes sense to get those energies crossing.
Yeah. But I don't think it would hurt it. I know at least it doesn't hurt. Somebody else said this might be more powerful. I don't know. Okay. But I've been doing it this way for so long. I can't. And then
before we go on, could you talk about the polarity and why you need to reverse that? I think that's so important.
Yes. Yeah. So energetically, we're supposed to be polarized on the planet. And then what happens, like as the day goes, like, so say, think like a battery in a toy. The batteries have to be in a certain direction, right? We know that. Okay. But as this is a toy winds down, like toward the end of the day, your polarity can shift. And it means go to bed. Most of us drink coffee and keep moving, but it doesn't work so much. So for tapping or any energy thing to work, you want your batteries in well, okay? And oftentimes, like if I say to you, oh, tell me about your vacation, and you're talking about that, you're like, your batteries are in straight. I say, tell me about your mother-in-law or your ex, or your ex who just cheated on you. Your polarity goes like, it flips. And so this puts polarity in the fastest. And this, Callahan found this for the whole body, because some people, their polarity's off the whole time. Like they have sores that don't heal, medicines don't work, nothing works for them. Okay. So this is the best one to do for that. And tapping here, which everybody in EFT land knows about, is the best one to do on a thought. So technically, if I asked you about if your polarity right now is fine, but I say to you, tell me about your ex, you'll flip. Okay. And if I tap here, this one will usually work for a thought.
Okay.
That's what Callahan found.
Okay.
And he tested thousands and thousands of people before he came up with this stuff. But what I do to kind of up my success, I have everybody rub here and state their accepting affirmation here. And then I have you tap here to state an intention, because I know the power of intention. I know how powerful you are. So, and I say things like, I'm choosing to release this, all the roots and origins of it. That handles your lineage issue.
Right.
Okay. And then all that it means and does to me. So it really, you're asking the energy to clear it on such a deeper level. And then you do the tapping. And I use eye movements most of the time. Sometimes I don't, but
yeah, I went through your free gift yesterday. It was awesome, by the way. So we'll definitely lead everyone that direction. It was really good. I had some interesting beliefs come up as after I did the process. It kind of did the daisy chaining, and I was like, oh, and there's that. And what I wanted to ask you was, I have this sort of underlying belief. It rides low, you know what I mean? It's like real stealthy, but it's kind of this, I'm not capable, or I'm not, what was it yesterday? It's not, I'm not capable. It was, I'm not cut out for this. Like there's something like that I don't have to get where I want to go. And, you know, right now it's like really low. So even when I worked on it yesterday, I was like, well, it's like a 2 or 3, but I can tell that it's still kind of there, you know? But my question is, when we get comfortable with something, it seems like those beliefs drop way down and they're almost like undetectable. It feels like they're gone. But then every time I go to do something big and new, it's like there's this same thread that shows right back up. So what's going on there? Am I not clearing them all the way? Or like, is it just part of it that they kind of come up when you up level and those same beliefs will be like, pop right back up?
That's a really good one. I think it can be both. I think it can be both. I don't think it's I'm not capable. I would tap into I'm not capable. And what are you afraid would happen if you knew you were? As a kid, what were you afraid would happen? If you really owned that you were really one capable woman, one capable lady.
I feel like people wouldn't like me. Like that's something that comes up when it's like, if I'm too successful, if I'm too powerful, like people don't really like that.
They don't. You're like, people will be jealous of you. That's accurate. So just own that. Yes. Welcome to Earth.
Yeah.
People get jealous on Earth. And as a little girl, you want to fit in. Like in junior, I always tell myself, hey, Mary, junior high is over. You don't have to, everybody doesn't have to like you anymore. Okay.
Right.
So breathe into the fear that they won't like me. That's more where it's stuck. So breathe into it. I'll show you. Want to do some tapping?
I would love to. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's go. All right. So breathe into that. Feel that. Oh my God, they won't like me. I won't fit in. I'll be too much. Were you ever told you were too much? Like you're just too much.
You know, I think I shut it down so early. You know,
okay, great.
I really exiled my leader. Like the leader that's in me was like gone.
And she wasn't. It wasn't her time. That's okay. So breathe into that. And just
that definitely little, like, brings the energy up.
Got it. Got it. Now close your eyes, trace it back. Where do you see yourself with this like powerful inner leader? You know, you're like, you just like got it going and it wasn't accepted. It wasn't appreciated.
Yeah.
See where you find yourself. Where do you find yourself?
Yeah, I go back. I mean, I'm like probably 3 or 4 years old and there was a lot of chaos around and, I think, you know, I see myself sensing like this shouldn't be like this. This is kind of nuts, you know? And maybe trying to start like directing, like, can we clean up over here? Can we, you know, can we like organize some of this stuff and just getting shut down? Like I was annoying.
Great. Perfect. So now feel the energy, bring your awareness back there. Close your eyes, go find her. And imagine the you of today walking in to that house, the chaos. And allow yourself to walk up to the little girl and see her there. She's confused. or She's trying to make it better. And they're not listening. In fact, they don't even appreciate her. She's like getting in worse trouble.
Mhm.
Go pick her up. And what do you want to say to her? What could you tell her now?
I just want to tell her she's perfect and
Mhm.
she's right. It is chaotic.
You were right, honey. Tell her you were
Yeah,
right.
yeah, you were right.
Right.
And it's okay to want to, organize and clean up. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because that's something I've had to reclaim also is sort of like my
Yep.
the side of me that wants to clean up, like
Yeah.
I got
Well,
real
because then
messy.
it's safe. You
Yeah,
see,
messy
when the
was
house was
safer.
clean, when it wasn't too chaotic, the energy was a little calmer. It was safe. We could
Mhm,
relax. That's
mhm.
a different thing. That's a different
Yeah,
fear.
and I can definitely feel that right there in that throat
Yeah,
chakra.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So let's get your girl out of there, though. So go get her.
Okay.
Just pick her up. Tell her you were right, and I appreciate you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just bring her back. You're safe with me. I am capable. Is there anything you need to say to the people in that house, or like, you guys missed it? Or anything?
She's kind of, I've done so much work back in this space. So she's kind of like, they just are what they are,
Exactly. Good.
but
Okay,
she's
come on,
glad
tell
I'm
her.
there for sure.
Exactly. Okay, we're getting her out of there now. So watch.
Mhm.
So now pick her up. She's with you. Bring her to you. Walk right out the front door and tell her, let me show you how life turned out, and grow her up and skip over the lousy parts.
Mhm.
Show her all the cool things. You went to school, you got some friends, you can drive a car now, you have money, you have a credit card. Like, just show her everything that's cool about life now. And grow her up
Yeah.
with you. Bring her all the way up to today, who you're living with, how your life's going. And everybody's not going to like you, honey. We're on Earth. It's a little nutty here. Okay.
I always tell people, I'm like, there's not a person that existed on this planet that everybody liked ever.
No, they didn't all like Jesus. I tell
That's exactly what I say. I'm like,
exactly.
even Jesus, obviously he had haters.
But remember, he got killed. She doesn't want to get killed. So that kind of isn't comforting, even though I say it too. So close your eyes, bring her all the way up to today. The other thing you have today is discernment. You know where to lead and where to sit in the back seat. You have discernment. You have really good discernment. You're not to lead everywhere. That's true. You have a place to lead. It's not everywhere, believe me.
Totally.
That's the good news.
Right.
Now, when she feels ready, open your eyes and tell her, look out my eyes and see today. See where I am today.
Oh, that makes me want to cry.
Podcast show. Tell her, look.
Yeah.
Look. You won't know how that happens. Just say, look, and see today.
Oh yeah, that makes me want to cry. Like, feels good.
It's safe. It's safe for me to lead, but we don't lead everywhere.
Right.
Not if you want to have a marriage, okay? Or a partner. Like,
it's such a good message.
That's what therapists really wreck up their relationships, because they think they're the therapist to their husband. Well, you can't do that. You'll lose your license. So you can't be somebody's therapist and sleep with them. Okay. It doesn't work.
Right. I have come a long way with that.
Exactly. Don't lead everywhere. It's not with your siblings either. They don't, anybody who does not pay you money, do not lead. Very simple. True. Very simple.
That is probably the first lesson we all have to learn, right? When we go into the healing world.
Oh, totally. Because we go in out of our wound a lot of times to try to make things better. So, which is lovely, but don't do it in your relationships or you'll be alone. And why be alone? It's fun to have a partner.
Yeah. My husband has a strong leader also. So when I was really learning to reclaim that energy, that got hairy.
Yeah, that was shake the boat.
He wasn't used to it, and I wasn't either. And I think I did what you said. I started owning it everywhere, and it was not authentic, you know, I don't
No,
need,
and then you have this little girl wanting to fit in, wanting to
yeah,
belong. And she didn't
yeah,
belong, she didn't energetically fit in there.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
part of not from your floor. Sometimes people on your, people in your siblings, for example, that are you have a connection with, but some of your siblings you don't even know. Energetically, they have something with your parents, but not necessarily with you.
right. I
So you
feel that.
don't fit in there. And
Mhm.
some people spend their whole life trying to get their siblings or their mother or father to love them. Good luck with that. That's not why your soul came. Your soul
Mhm.
came for something. If your soul came for something big, or I shouldn't
Yeah,
even say big, that's a judgment, just something else. You came
right.
to make a difference. This is a very critical time on our planet. And
Mhm.
those of you who said, I'm here to help in the shift of the planet, which is what we're in,
Mhm.
then your soul is like, come on. This is what we said we'd be. So you feel so dissatisfied and you're still busy trying to get your sister to like you or be on the
Right.
same, or come to the workshops you're going to. It's good luck with that. Leave them alone.
Mhm.
Just free them from you and
Yes.
love them. And you can love them and let them be,
Mhm.
versus, oh, I can't go because the family might not like me anymore. Yeah, well,
Mhm.
frankly, when I first started going to Simon, here I am, this little Irish Catholic girl, with a Hindu saint.
You know, my maiden name is O'Toole.
Exactly. I'm like, really? My family's, what is she doing?
Mm. Mhm.
And but I'm one of those people, you don't tell me I can't do something because it doesn't go over too well. So anyway, I'm doing that. But then I started to get nicer and nicer. And I said, after a while, my family started taking up a collection. She needs to go back for another week. Send her back, send her back.
Send her back. She's awesome when she comes home.
Exactly. Like we
Yeah.
can live with her. Yeah. Because I totally,
Yeah.
why? Because everything you're not, everything you had to be in order to survive there or to get through it, or, like, where do I fit in? Am I safe?
Mhm.
It just melts away. And then who you really are can shine.
Mhm.
And you can shine anywhere. It's just don't open your mouth anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where you get in trouble, when you're telling somebody else what to do who's not paying you.
Yeah, exactly. And
Mhm.
it's so funny to kind of look around and I see some of my friends that really haven't stepped into that soul calling yet. They're just, they're working through it,
Yeah.
and they're doing what I used to do. It's like, I wanted to share that advice all over the place because my
Yeah.
soul was like craving that,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
was sharing it with all the wrong people. And they were
Exactly.
so
This is
freaking
not your
annoyed with me.
audience. This
Oh,
is
they were so
not your
annoyed with
audience.
me, and
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
it's just so, it's such a different place. And, obviously we all have to kind of move through it and find
Yeah.
it. But
Right.
now I
Right.
see it happening and I'm like, oh, I see that. I
Yeah.
see what they're doing here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to clear the wound or get the little girl out of there. And that's why I call it
Mhm.
soul weaving, because she feel yourself now. What does it feel like? How do you feel inside?
Right now. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel more expansive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel more
Yeah.
expansive.
Now go back and look at that incident in the house and see what you see.
Yeah. It just looks brighter. Like the room is
Mhm.
full of light.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So now you'll see when you start and you get that I'm not capable thing,
Mhm.
especially when you're starting something new. I would suspect when you go to a new level, she gets flipping out.
Yes, that's what I've
You see?
noticed, is that
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
feel like solid, I'm like good with my practice. I don't even have to
Yeah.
look for clients. Like
But
I
this
set up this
good
whole
enough. Keep it.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like everything feels good. I worked through all that
Right.
stuff, but then there goes my soul wanting to like expand further and do the
Yeah.
podcast and do
Right.
these other things I'm
And
working
she's
on.
freaking.
And
Yeah.
she freaked the fuck
Yeah.
out. Like she was
Yeah.
like,
Exactly.
"What is
I'm not
happening?"
doing that. No, nobody will like
Yeah.
me. And so now she should be here with you.
Mm-hmm.
So what,
Yeah.
but the only way we'll know is when you get the next bright idea, she's on board. She's not
Yeah.
freaking out because she's here. She's
Yeah.
here.
No, that definitely feels different. And what's
Mhm.
interesting, I want to share this with you because I know you'll appreciate it. But after years and years of doing this, like this, I mean, it sounds like I'm doing this soul weaving work,
Mhm.
through
Yeah.
a different
Yeah.
manner, but
Mhm.
going back and reintegrating these inner child
Mhm.
aspects and
Mhm.
healing and releasing all that trapped energy.
Yeah.
Every time I would check back in with my inner child, she was terrified, like curling up, pulling away.
Hmm.
And for the first time, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I checked in with her and she looked at me and she was like, "You've got this. You're
Yeah.
fine."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that just makes me want to cry, but like she was strong, like she felt stronger than the adult me. And I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is
Right.
different,
Right. Right. Right.
and it felt amazing. She was like,
Yeah.
"No, we're good. We're
And we're
good."
good.
Yeah.
Exactly. But now another one will wake up.
Yeah.
It's not over till it's over. Okay. So
Right.
another one, another one will
Is it
wake up.
ever over, Mary?
I think so. You start walking on water. I think we almost get there. It it is and it isn't. Like sometimes I think I'm like almost there, but I also know when I get to that point, I get a little nervous because you're so cheap or something
Well,
else
that's what I
gets
was just getting
triggered.
ready to say. It's like every time I'm like, "I feel
Right,
amazing." It's
right.
like,
Like
a week later, I'm
bang.
like, "Oh,
But
hell. Here we
but
go again."
but what I know for sure is that if you just stay the same thing, stay welcome it all, accept that you've got it. That's why we do this. I'm choosing to release the origin of this. We could have done some tapping with her, but she didn't need it. She just came right back.
Yeah.
So it's tapping won't hurt you. It'll just quiet the nervous system down.
Right.
Because remember, every cell has memory, everything
Mhm.
has memory, and this quiets the body down. So all of you gets in.
Mhm.
And sometimes when they're there and they're really terrified, you have to tap for them. So there's different ways to
Yeah.
work
Do
it.
you notice that sometimes I find that very spiritual people that are like very upper chakra kind of poo-poo tapping a little bit. And I feel like they're the people, as you described earlier, that maybe need it the most because they're not integrated into
They're
those
not
lower
in their lower
chakras.
chakras. And what will happen, you'll see. But I don't worry about it. I figured,
Mhm.
everybody comes to tapping on their own.
Right,
Like,
right.
whatever. If you can find a different way, go for it. I mean, Jesus didn't tap anybody and people are
Right.
healed. So who am I to say this must be the one only religion to
Sure.
get to heaven?
For sure.
Okay. So, but if there's energy that's not transmuted in them, something will trigger them. And that's
Mhm.
where you see, this is another area I love to work in, when people have like spiritual teachers that then betray them.
Yes.
That tells me that these lower chakras, they are getting higher and higher. And
And they're
then
like
that's where you'll
completely split
see
off.
they
Yeah.
split off. And
Yeah.
then you'll see them like do things or whatever. And it's not that
Mhm.
they're not, a lot of times these upper chakras get blown open. So and people love to be around them, to have spiritual experiences,
Right.
which is lovely. But that's not the whole thing. If you really want to be this, you
Mhm.
can't not deal with this, because
Totally.
this is voltage. Every time you let go, we all have voltage. Okay. But like even this, if I still have anger in me, or somebody, for example, so I can have big spiritual experiences, but I still have anger, and I put that anger out with this much voltage. Oh, you make a mess. You make a
Mhm.
big mess.
Mm.
So voltage is about coherent energy, but you can be coherently and just run it through this. Oh, you can hurt a lot of
Yeah. And
people.
I mean, I feel it in people's field. I'm sure you do too. When you're around somebody that
Yeah,
hasn't processed that lower chakra
yeah,
stuff,
yeah. But duct
it's
tape your mouth, because it's not your role.
right,
They come to you as a client, they're giving you money. But
right.
just one thing I would say, just be grateful that you're not there.
Mhm.
Whatever, who knows what lifetime you were. I don't know. Maybe we've been there
Right.
before. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I think I've
also,
been there in this life,
yeah, yeah. And then just put light out and know that in the right time, they will get triggered. And then you're available if that's your role to play, or if
Mhm.
not. But
Yeah.
do your work. The big
Right.
thing for everybody, just do your work. I
Right.
don't care how many degrees you've
Do
got. I don't
you?
care.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's so much fun to just show up.
Yeah.
And I don't have to shine. I don't have to say something. I don't have to nothing. I just show up and be the love that I am, that you are. Like, just love. It's so powerful. And then if I have a
Mhm.
different role with you, like you're paying me money, then
Right.
I play a totally different role.
Yeah.
And I'll teach, I'll show you what I'm experiencing, I'll whatever.
Yeah.
But I have
I
to have
think
your permission.
I think you're describing, I mean, one of my favorite places to tap with people is to do this shadow work, but to find the
Yeah.
judgment that
Oh
we're
yeah.
carrying towards these aspects of ourself that we've, pushed
Right.
away and that
Right.
we judge in other people. Right. And
Exactly. That's where it is. Yeah.
yeah. And again, I think with like deeply spiritual people, sometimes that's a blind spot that they don't recognize how much they're judging. And like I said, I've been there. And that was one of the biggest things for me, was to recognize, like, I'm not all love and light. Yes, I do have opinions about these people, and to kind of deal with the energy of judgment in myself,
Mhm,
so
mhm.
that I could truly just be like, okay, you do you, you're on your path. I'm going to do me. And if we come
Yeah.
together, great. And if
Yeah, and
not,
if you want, and one
yeah,
thing about me, a lot of people don't really like to work with me. I shouldn't say that. That sounds terrible, but because I tell it like it is. I
yeah.
can't lie. I'm not going to entertain your ego. So
Hmm.
you've got to really be ready for me to just say things, but pay me. I'm not going to just like walk into a room with my friends and start pointing out what energies I am aware of in their field.
Right.
Like, really? Who?
Because that's just
Like your little girl,
rude.
I won't have any friends. Like, like, you
Nobody
know,
wants a friend like that.
exactly. It's like, it's like, the emperor's got no clothes on. Oh, no, nobody wants
Yeah.
that person as their friend
Right.
that calls it out.
Yeah.
But if you want a therapist that'll call it out, that'll be straight with you. I'm not going to waste your money. I don't waste time or money. Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
you know.
Yeah. And so talk to me a little bit. I was reading in your book, and I think this is so important. When that polarity is flipped,
Mhm.
how will somebody know, like, if my energy is running the wrong way, what are the symptoms of that? Like, are they trying to release and things aren't going anywhere? What does that look like?
Yeah. So if your polarity is fully reversed, okay, usually that's because you've got something in you that's toxic. Maybe your environment's
Mhm.
toxic. Maybe there's people who live with mold in their house. I mean, their whole system, their immune system, nothing works for them. And they're
Mhm.
depressed a lot,
And does
chronically.
it
If
flip
it's
as like a
chronic,
protective? I can't remember what it
no,
does.
no, for some people, think like a bell curve. Okay.
Mhm.
For some people, it's like that, like all the time. And
Mm.
it's horrible for them because it's not that they don't try, but usually there's something on them or in them, excuse me, that's toxic, or they're
Mhm.
breathing something toxic and they've been
Okay.
this way a long time, or it's something like that. So you
Mhm.
really have to investigate with those and figure it out. Um, then in the middle of the bell curve would be all the people who they just flip on a thought. There's pervasive and then there's thought based. That's why EFT was called TFT, thought field therapy. You think
Mhm.
a thought, and that's why you have to think about what you're working on, and and there's a disruption. He felt it was on the thought field. Okay, we
Okay.
just use the meridian system to shift that.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, but so most people reverse on a thought. Like even for you, the thought of going to the next level reversed. Part of you is
Right.
going, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Yeah.
So you know, and like you have to find for me, that's the tricky part. What are you afraid would happen? The things like I was saying to you.
Mhm.
Um, so that's that. But the ones who are fully polarized, the way to find that out is you can go to somebody who does energy checking, and they get
Okay.
yes or no answers for a body, and they'll have you say, my name is Kelly, and you'll say no. Like my name is Mary, and you'll say yes. Like it's like
Mhm.
your yeses are nos and your nos are yeses. So there's the chronic type. Then there's ones who just are on a thought. So the
Mhm.
chronic ones you rub here, the
Okay.
thought ones you tap here, that
Okay.
small intestine meridian. That was the one that Dr. Callahan found came up the most. That if you had them tap on that, it would reverse, at least just for a short period of time, so we could make the treatment work.
Gotcha. Okay.
But this has been dropped out of EFT.
Yeah, I was
Me
just
is
thinking I'm
like,
going to add that
really?
back in. I
Yeah,
remember
add it
learning
back
about
in.
it, but
Yeah,
and then
add it back
also,
in.
yeah, that 9 gamut process.
Mhm.
I had a mentor, and I still adore this person, but I remember early on her saying, I don't use that much, so I just kind of stopped using it.
Yeah, that you
And
need if
yeah.
in my world, if you're processing trauma, because the brain freezes. And so
Mhm.
when the brain freezes, it's when you start moving your eyes around, then it gets the brain. That's what EMDR is based on. It does something, and I've seen it, and I've seen people like, oh, when I looked over here, the images, something happened. So the eye movement, again, if you're just using it for yourself, So the
Mhm.
general public, I'm just doing it for myself. Then just do the regular thing. You might not need it. But if
Yeah.
you're a clinician from in my world, I think
Yeah.
you should get trained on the whole thing. I think you should know really
Definitely.
how to
Definitely.
help
Yeah. I
more
mean,
and more and more people,
yeah. I mean,
you know?
I've been super successful not using it,
Yeah.
but there's certainly times when you feel stuck, and what I was realizing yesterday was like, I'm going to start adding that back in some.
Add it back in. It can't hurt. It
Yeah.
takes what?
No,
2
no, but it's
seconds,
just,
10 seconds. Like, I always say to people, will you wait? So you're wasting 10 seconds of the therapy session. Like, you don't think you do that by your talking? Like,
right.
like
Right.
everything using every word out of your mouth is so brilliant. Like 10
Yeah.
seconds.
No, and when you were
Like,
you were talking about the eye movement, I mean, I
right.
am already on board for that. Like I know how important that is. And I just
Mhm.
thought like it just kind of turned into a
Yeah.
habit that I got away from,
Right.
and I
Right.
was like,
It
oh,
will up your success.
being guided to add that back in. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um
To me, though, Kelly, the biggest thing is if they're what I love the most about tapping versus like EMDR or whatever, it's everybody triggers everybody else.
mhm,
So if you tap enough times, like you'll see the clients have your issue. You just have to be ahead of them, like
yeah.
even by a day. But
Mhm,
otherwise, you can't see it and you can't help them with it. So the
right.
biggest thing is that therapists always, or healers, always, or coaches, whatever you want to call yourself, always get it. Oh man, I got that same issue. And so when you're tapping on yourself,
Totally.
you're helping yourself not to get burned out. You're clearing another issue and you get paid for it. I mean, come on, it's a
Yeah.
triple header. I mean, a triple play. Like,
Seriously.
guys, don't think you don't have the same issue.
For sure.
You're fooling yourself.
Yeah. It's been
Okay.
interesting to see over the last, trying to think of how I think my business has officially been open 8 years now,
Mhm,
but I've really been tapping like 10 or 11 years probably at this
mhm.
point. But it's been so interesting to watch as I've grown through my stuff, how different clients show up in my practice.
But that's energy law. That's the law of resonance.
Right. But it's
So you'll
like,
resonate with different clients.
I remember somebody telling me that all those years ago,
Mhm.
but to look
Sure.
back at that, it's like, wow, that is so
Wow.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of times the client will outgrow somebody because the client moves faster than the therapist, but they like their therapist, so they stay there longer.
Yeah.
Well, it's really not working.
Yeah.
And the therapist hasn't shifted and
Isn't ready for
so
it.
you shift and you need to be able to like, okay, thank you for where you took me. I want to go here,
Mhm.
you know.
Ready for the next level.
Where do you want the question is where's my soul calling me to go?
Right.
You know?
Oh my gosh, Mary, this has been so fun. We have a few
Mhm.
minutes left. If you're
Okay.
okay with it, are you okay with doing a little bit of tapping?
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
so when I was tapping yesterday on the I'm not capable thing, the next
Mhm.
level that I kind of had to laugh at was, I'm doing a ton of writing, putting
Mhm.
together a book, and the
Mhm.
belief that popped up was I'm not worthy of um what was it? I'm not worthy of being heard. And I
Mhm.
thought, wow, that's important to look at.
Mhm. Okay.
Writing a book and doing a podcast,
Mhm.
so is that something we could work on?
You work on anything.
I mean, are you cool
Do you
with that?
want that, or do you want me to do a visualization one? What would you prefer? A belief or a visualization? What
I
do
think
we
since
have?
we did the visualization, let's do a belief. Uh, okay, I'm ready.
Okay. All right. So we'll do your belief. You think it's I'm unworthy, I'm not worthy.
It's like I'm not worthy of being heard. And like the big long part of it was I'm not worthy of being heard as like a credible expert or something. You know what I mean? I know that's really wordy, but I'm
So
not
it's
worthy of
all,
being heard
is it I'm a
as
fraud? Like an imposter thing, or
I know I kept trying to figure out what the I am statement was, and I was having
yeah.
trouble with that. Yeah, like the only thing I could come up with yesterday, and it didn't totally resonate, but it kept popping up was like, I'm not smart enough to be an expert.
Yeah, I think, yeah, do that. So take a breath
Okay.
and think about your next step. Like you have this book, but you're really not smart enough. Or you want to do your podcast, whatever the next thing is, and get that thing that you get. Feel it in the body.
I get kind of cold.
Hmm. Yeah. Where is it in the body?
It feels like it's kind of everywhere. Like it's not super intense, but it's like this subtle contraction kind of all
like
over.
numbing, like a
Mm-hmm.
freezing. It's a little bit of a freeze. Yeah, cool. Breathe into it. 0 to 10. 10 means I can't stand it.
Right now it's probably only like a 4.
Okay, great. So come down
I
3
don't
inches.
like how it feels, but it's not like terrible.
Right, right, right. Okay, so come down 3 inches and over 3 inches and rub in that soft area. Yep, you got it right there. And feel it. It should be tender.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now tap into the aspect of you that doesn't feel smart enough. Even though I believe I'm not smart enough,
Even though I believe I'm not smart enough,
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
You afraid you're going to expose yourself, that you're not all that? Is there
Mm-hmm. Right, like that I'll
embarrassment?
get all this exposure and then everyone will see.
They're going to find out. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe into it. So even though I'm really afraid I'm not smart enough,
Even though I'm really afraid I'm not smart enough,
and they're going to find out,
and they're going to find out,
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
I'm really afraid I'm not smart enough.
Even though I'm really afraid I'm not smart enough,
They're going to find out.
they're going to find out.
Laugh at me.
They're going to laugh
like
at me.
Shame and humiliation is what it feels like.
Shame and humiliation. Absolutely. Yeah.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Okay, great. Now side of your hand. Now here's where you set an intention. I am choosing to release this shame and humiliation and fear. We could lump it all, but it's around that energy. Like,
yep, totally.
Choosing to release this fear of being humiliated.
I'm choosing to release this fear of being humiliated and found out.
All the roots and origins of why I have it.
All the roots and origins of why I have it.
And all that it means and does to me.
And all that it means and does to me.
I am choosing to release this fear that I'm really not smart enough. I'm going to get found out.
I'm choosing to release this fear that I'm not smart enough and I'm going to get found out.
Yeah. All the roots and origins of it.
All the roots and origins of it.
And all that it means and does to me.
And all that it means and does to me. I love that statement.
I'm choosing to release this fear.
I'm choosing to release this fear.
I'm not smart enough.
I'm not smart enough.
And they're going to find out.
They're going to find out.
Like it's the fear of humiliation and
fear of humiliation.
Exposed. Yeah. All the roots and origins of it.
All the roots and origins
and all that it means and does to me.
And all that it means and does to me.
Okay, great. Now we do our tapping. So eyebrow, side of the eyes, under the eye, under the nose, under the lip. I'm doing it this way. Under the arms, 4 inches. This one should hurt. This is where fear of the future is. So it should be tender. Thumb, we'll do it like we do it in the book. First finger, next one, and little one. The back of your hand, the side of your hand, collarbone. Tap in this soft area between your ring finger and your little finger right there. And it's good to put your hand on your body because it keeps you in your body. Okay, with your head straight. Close your eyes and open them. Head straight, look down one way, look down the other way. Big circle all the way around the room. Very good. Now go in the opposite direction, all the way around the room. And then hum. Count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And then hum again. Great. Eyebrow. Then we're going to tap again. Eyebrow. And this side of your eye. Under your eyes. Under your nose. And lip. Under your arms, 4 inches. Oh, you know what? We forgot the liver spot.
I actually did it earlier.
You did it? Okay.
I did.
Okay. The liver spot. I forgot. That's in the book.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they can see it, like right under the breast there.
Right there.
Yeah.
Thumb. First finger. Next one. Little one. The back of your hand. And the side of your hand. And then right here at your collarbone. You're out a little bit. I would come in more.
A little bit more.
Kidney meridian is there. Yeah. Okay, deep breath for your body. Now think that thought. You're going to be on stage. You're going to be stupid. They're going to find out. Everybody's going to know you really are stupid. Tell me what's happening in the body. The body always gives you a clue whether we got it.
Right.
Mhm.
I would say that like I feel more expansive in my whole body, except for my hands are very cold.
Okay, so breathe into it. 0 to 10, how intense?
Certainly it feels less true already. Maybe like a 2.
Okay, great. Let's do an eye roll. Nobody ever does that anymore. Hands here, tap here. Put this on your body. Okay. Your head is straight. Look straight. Now drop your eyes to the floor and very slowly, like roll them up in front of your face and up to the top of your head, all the way up, and then you can come back down. Okay. Now check your body. See if that did anything.
I feel a little warmer. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody does that one anymore. That usually if
Yeah.
you can get it at 2 or lower, you can get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's put in the belief you really would love to have in its place. Whenever
Okay.
you take a belief out, it's really important to put something positive in that you, like if you had a little girl, what would you program her?
I would program her with like, I have everything I need. I'm smart enough to go after my dreams, to accomplish my dreams.
Yeah, but then if someday she finds somebody smarter than her, she's screwed.
Yeah.
Is that what you're going to program your kid?
No.
What would you program her?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking like I'm perfect and whole.
Yeah, I'm amazing. Like I am so precious, and it's okay
Yeah.
to make mistakes and not know
Mhm.
everything.
Mhm.
Usually, I tell myself nowadays, I don't have to know everything. I just have to know how to be in alignment, and I know how to do that.
I like that.
You want that
Yeah.
one? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you can't go on podcasts and things like this and expect to know what they're going to ask you all the time.
Right.
I don't need to know everything. And it's
Mhm.
okay to say I don't know something.
Yes.
I just have to know how to be in alignment. And I can do that.
Mhm.
Want that one?
Yeah, I like that. I like it.
Okay.
Mhm.
So when you
Feels
think of
good.
that, I don't have to know everything. I just have to know how true does it feel? Or is there part of you dragging your feet like, are you sure?
No, it actually does. It feels really true. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
10.
I would say maybe like a 9.
Yeah,
You know, I'm
that's I
sure
was
there's
thinking
like
that.
one little part of me that's like,
But
are you sure?
one part, think of your car going, you got one part with a foot out. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
crossover. All right, so
So,
crossover.
mhm.
So even though I don't totally believe this
Like
yet,
maybe 2 feet out. Maybe
exactly,
it's 8.
I don't quite believe this yet. I accept myself.
Even though I don't quite believe this yet, I accept myself.
Even though I don't quite believe this yet. Are you
Even though I don't
sure?
quite believe this yet, I'm not
I
totally sure about it. I accept
even though I
myself.
don't quite believe this yet.
Even though I don't quite believe this yet,
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
That you can. I am choosing to release anything that's blocking me from knowing this.
I am choosing to release anything that's blocking me from knowing this.
All the roots and origins of it.
All the roots and origins of it.
And all that it means and does to me.
And all that it means and does to me.
I am choosing to release anything that's blocking me from knowing this.
I am choosing to release anything that's blocking me from knowing this.
All the roots and origins of it.
All the roots and origins of it.
And all that it means and does to me.
And all that it means and does to me.
I'm choosing to release anything that's blocking me from knowing this.
I am choosing to release anything that's blocking me from knowing this.
All the roots and origins of it.
All the roots and origins of it.
And all that it means and does to me.
And all that it means and does to me.
This is like saying, we know it didn't start here.
Mm-hmm.
It's what is the roots, whether it's this lifetime, last lifetime, your parents' lineage, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
There's no time anyway, so you just get it from here. How can I do a lot of time trying to figure out why I'm screwed up? I'm trying to release it under your lip, under your arms, then under your chest, the one that nobody gets, which is liver meridian, which is a lot about anger.
Anger, rage, hit that point.
First finger. Next one. Little one. The back of your hand. The side of your hand. Back of your hand here. Close your eyes and open them. Head straight, look down one way, look down the other way. Roll them in a circle one way, and then in the opposite direction. And then hum. Count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5.
And then hum. Great. Eyebrow. Your eyes. Lip. Your arms. Under your chest. Next one. Little one. Back of the hand. Side of your hand. Collarbone. Okay, deep breath for your body. Now, let's see what you got.
Feel good.
They're going to find out, or
you
don't know anything.
No, it feels pretty good. I was just thinking that's part of the reason I wanted to do this with you live. I'm like, there's nothing like owning your shit to your audience. But I would tell people that all the time. I'm like, if you want to clear something, tap and tell somebody about it, tap on it, bring it down, and then tell somebody about the same issue and see if it's come down, and then it'll bring up the next layer.
Exactly. Yeah. And not to mention, people like it when you're real. I don't know about you.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't like it when people are, I'm,
I have worked through so much resistance.
And
it's incredible what
I really like. You start telling on yourself. You have a lot more friends.
Right?
People can get it. They can relate to you. Yeah. They don't have to pretend, and you're not pretending.
Right.
So be real.
Certainly not.
Be real with people, and everybody's helping everybody to get to whatever next thing. Consciousness continues to expand. It just like, what's the next thing I can expand to? You will never stop expanding. Even when you die, you're still expanding into like a bigger version of you. There's all these different. The question is, what are we going to expand this planet to? That's the key part about what's happening right now. It's so critical that those of us, and it's not everybody, like everybody didn't come here with a mission, by the way. So leave your relatives alone.
Right.
But those of you who did, it, you feel it. And the planet needs you. The planet needs those of us to unite who said we would be these pillars of light. Sometimes I have a graphic. It looks like acupuncture needles in the grid of the planet. And so light up your area. It's critical.
I pulled a card yesterday that said Pillar of Light. It's a beautiful card. And so I love that we're talking about that. And I know that so many people, just hearing you say those words, it's going to bring tears to their eyes because they know it's true. And they're feeling that calling. They're being called to do it. So if somebody's sitting out there and they're feeling that well of like, holy crap, she's talking to me.
Right.
What do you think what advice can we give them as their next step to go, okay, I'm going to
tapping. That would be tapping is one of the fastest ways, and you can do it on your own. So become conscious and don't stop learning. Don't stop. Find a mentor, find somebody who will help you go to the next level. Somebody who's where you want to be. Don't stay too long with somebody who's not where you want to be. Yeah. Find somebody who's where you want to be and get mentoring. That's the fastest way. You want to go to the Olympics, find somebody who's been to the Olympics, or at least has like gotten in the prelim games or something. You know what I mean?
I tell people that all the time. Like nobody goes to the Olympics without a coach.
No.
We need help. We can't do it alone.
And one of the things I do, and they're all welcome to come be on it at this point. I did it for the pandemic. Just because I knew everybody's freaking out. I'm thinking, how can I know this and not get it out? So I do some of what I call Tapping Tuesdays. It's every Tuesday at 2:00 Eastern. It's free. We have 100 people all over the world tapping. Awesome. Come on that for free. Just go to marysise.com.
Okay.
And then you can practice tapping. And then the next thing I'll be doing, I'm going to start up again, is some trainings for clinicians and support for healers. That's the next thing I'm going to do. So we get these, pods of healers or groups of healers where we come together and we just move to the next level, so you can get the support you need.
That sounds beautiful. Are you running a program right now? Did I see that?
I'm teaching for the Shift Network. So and it's awesome. It's like really fun. So we're in the middle of that series, but it's actually, I think you can get it on the Shift Network. The first one of it.
Okay.
I'm in my second one. It'll be evergreen. So I think if you go to the shiftnetwork.com, I think you can get that, or it's on my website. Just go on my website and you can sign up for that. But now we're on week 4 of the 9-week one. We just did a 7-week. That was really fun. Oh my God. And it's all about being loyal to your soul. Yeah. So there's all sorts of things. Just come get on my list, get the download, whatever. Get on my list. You can see what I'm doing. I try not to send too many emails.
No, I'm on your list, and the stuff that comes through, I love. I would recommend it to anyone. Also, if anybody wants to do more of the tapping that we just did on the beliefs, which I think is so powerful. I definitely felt it shift yesterday. Go to the energyofbelief.com for that free downloadable video. And are you on social media at all, like Facebook, Instagram?
Facebook, there's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, those,
Mary, this is
get on my email list, because then when I'm doing something, like I'm teaching at ASEP, there's a conference there in May. I don't know when this is going to broadcast, but there's a conference there in May, and I'm teaching a post-conference on working with trauma, the stages of trauma treatment and how to integrate that.
Fantastic.
And I have a frozen in time one as a breakout that they're broadcasting. It's a hybrid one.
Very cool.
That will be about about soul weaving. Yeah.
Well, Mary, thank you for sitting with me.
It's been a joy. It's been fun.
Yeah, this has been really fun. I appreciate what you're doing for the industry, because Lord knows we need it. We need more people. We need more therapists tapping, in my opinion. I know that, they all have their thing.
We need soul back in therapy. Come on.
Yeah.
You want to really not have anxiety, then you better get it that, you're not running the planet. Just like things are happening.
Absolutely.
There's so much more going on. So